It's Saturday morning in the fabulous Florida Keys. I'm Gary McAdams with eXp Realty. Today is the second day of Goombay Fest, and it looks like it's going to be rained out. It's not raining right now. I just came in from my morning walk, and it isn't raining yet, but it's looking pretty cloudy and pretty ugly out there. And if you want to trust the weather forecast, the rain's supposed to start mid-morning and go right through the night. Goombay Fest back in the day started off as a Bahamian cultural festival with a lot of Bahamian food and the costumes. If you've ever been to Nassau during Christmas and stayed for the day after Christmas, they call it Boxing Day. It's Boxing Day because what they used it for was the families that were the more wealthy families. The children would take their old toys that they aren't using anymore and box them up and bring them to the poorer kids when they got their new toys for Christmas, when the wealthy families got their new toys for Christmas. So it became Boxing Day, and on Boxing Day they have a big festival. It's a 24-hour-long festival called Junkanoo. Back in the day, Goombay Fest was a smaller version of Junkanoo. Now it's just a big food festival. It's kind of the locals' way to get out and enjoy before the crowds and crazies of Fantasy Fest come. Fantasy Fest technically starts tomorrow and goes through next Sunday. Realistically, it doesn't really get going until about Wednesday. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday are the real big days of Fantasy Fest. I always tell people, if you've never been to Fantasy Fest, it's well worth it to go once. It's a really good time. I've lived in Key West for 33 years. I've been too many times. I don't go anymore myself, but if you've never been, it's a lot of fun. It's a great experience. It's worth going to see once. It starts technically tomorrow, but realistically Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. But since Goombay Fest is going to get rained out today, it's a great day to look at Florida Keys real estate. And this is my morning market MLS update video I do every day right about this same time. I report all the new listings in Key West and the lower Keys that have come on the market in the last 24 hours. If you watch this video every day, you will be ahead of most buyers. You'll know about all the new listings from Big Pine Key down to Key West the same day the Realtors find out about them. I find most buyers wait for a home to come on to Realtor.com or Zillow or Trulia before they inquire, and a problem they face a lot of times is by the time those websites put a home live online, it's been on the multiple listing service a couple days and all the good deals are already under contract. If you watch this video every day and you see something you like, call me right away. I'll make an appointment for us to see the property, and if you like what you see, we can write up a contract and have you under contract before most buyers ever even knew the home was available for sale. You can also get a much more in-depth, detailed description of these listings if you follow my blog, keywestinvesting.com. I update that every day from the Florida Keys multiple listing service, including photographs. There's a lot more information on the blog about the homes, a lot more details, any unique features the home might have. It'll have things like projected room use, room dimensions, photos of the inside of the home, photos of the outside of the home. If the home happens to have a pool, it happens to be waterfront, it'll have photos of the pool view, photos of the water view, photos of the boat dockage. It's just a lot more information than I can cram into a couple-minute YouTube video. Again, that web address is keywestinvesting.com, and it's updated every day from the Florida Keys multiple listing service, including photographs. If you like this video and you want to see more like it so you can stay current with what's being listed in the Florida Keys at what price, they say information is king. You'll get the information right here every day. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel. I do a video just like this every morning. And also please click that thumbs up like symbol down below. We had a lot of listings come on the market today. We have 10 new properties to go over. But before I tell you about the properties, the state of Florida makes me cover the legal boring stuff. The information I'm about to give you comes directly from the Florida Keys multiple listing service. I'm not claiming any responsibility for any of these listings. I'm not claiming any of these listings to be my own listings, and I'm not accepting any responsibility if there's any inaccuracies in the information I give you. I'm simply reading it to you right from the Florida Keys multiple listing service. In fact, on a day like today where we have so many listings, you'll probably catch me looking down a few times. I'm just looking at my computer screen, making sure I'm reading it to you right. The first property we have is in a neighborhood in Key West called the Meadows on Petronia Street. I really like the Meadows a lot. It's right on the outskirts of downtown. It's close enough that you could walk to Duval Street or easily take a bicycle. A lot of the Key West locals have bicycles, their main source of transportation. Yet it's far enough away that you don't have the tourist traffic, you don't have the looky-loos sightseeing, driving around looking at your house. You don't have the traffic of downtown. You're not fighting for parking, although this home has off-street parking for 2 cars, which is a great feature in Key West. The Meadows is a really good area. The majority of the homes are upscale homes. You definitely want that. You don't want to have a nice house surrounded by dumps. You're always better off having the lesser house in the millionaire's neighborhood or an average house in the millionaire's neighborhood than having the nicest house in the trailer park. This house is one of the nicer houses in the Meadows. It's right around your middle of the road to upper ends. It's a great Meadows property. It's 3 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms, 1,667 square feet. It's on a large piece of land by Key West standards and has off-street parking and a pool. It's being offered at $1,900,000, which is a very good price for a house of that nature in the Meadows. Then on Symington Street in Key West's Old Town neighborhood. Symington Street is just 1 block off Duval Street. And this particular property is located on the upper end of Symington Street, which means you're on the quiet side of Duval Street. So you can enjoy the Duval Street restaurants, the art galleries, the shopping, a little bit of the nightlife, but the quiet part. And if you do want to go down into what we call the party zone or the loud part of Duval or lower Duval, it's only not even a 5-minute walk. You could be sitting in Sloppy Joe's having a drink in less than 5 minutes from walking out your door in this condo. It's a 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom, 958 square foot condo. Back in the day, this building was a resort. It was the Santa Maria Resort that was kind of like a no-tell motel in downtown. Then a developer bought it out and condoed it out. They're really nice high-end condos. You can't beat the location. Each unit has its own private parking space. It's being offered at $2 million, which is a very low price for a property this close to Duval Street with off-street parking. Then in Key West's Midtown neighborhood on Duncan Street, we have a 3-bedroom, 4-bathroom, 1,747 square foot house. This one's on a very small lot. This is on an Old Town sized lot, but it's located in Midtown. Personally, I feel it's extremely overpriced. They're asking $2,595,000 for it. And a house in Midtown on Duncan Street, especially on a small lot, just does not merit that price tag by any means. Then in Key West's Old Town neighborhood on Eaton Street, we have a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom, 1,440 square foot house. Eaton Street's one of the main roads going into downtown, going into Duval Street. There's some absolutely amazing, huge mansions on Eaton Street. A lot of the houses on Eaton Street will be $5-6+ million. This one's being offered at $1,925,000, which is a very good price for a 3-2 that's 1,440 square feet. The only drawback of this house is there is no off-street parking, and parking on Eaton Street can be tough. You might have to park a block or so away from your house. That sounds like no big deal. We have the beautiful Florida weather year-round, only parking a block away from your house. So the first time you come home with a carload of groceries and it's raining out and you have to park a block away from your house, all of a sudden off-street parking will be very valuable, and you don't have it here. It's still a very good price at $1,925,000 for a house this size on Eaton Street. As I said, Eaton Street's one of the nicest streets in Old Town, and this is definitely a case of having one of the lesser homes in the multi-million-dollar neighborhood. Your neighbors' houses will be, $3, $4, $5+ million. It's definitely a good house to take a look at. Then we go over to Newtown in a condo complex called Santa Clara on Northside Drive. This one's a 1-bedroom, 1-bathroom, 528 square foot condo, and it sounds like a great deal. It's only $375,000 for a property in Key West. Then the other shoe drops. Santa Clara is one of the few condo complexes where you'll hear me do what you probably never thought you'd ever hear a realtor say. Stay far away and do not buy this condo. I'm not sure if you're familiar with the term spalling. It's a problem with the concrete. The way spalling is caused is inside the concrete, they have steel rebar to reinforce the concrete. And if the salt water or salt air gets anywhere near the rebar, the steel rusts. When any metal rusts, it expands and it breaks out the concrete. When Santa Clara was originally built, it was going to be a senior citizens living facility. The developer put up the shells, all the walls of the building and nothing else, and had the exposed rebar out and ran out of money. It sat there with all that rebar exposed to the salt air for a couple of years, and the building is actually located only about, I'd say, 400 yards from the harbor and from the salt water. So you get a lot of salt air on the rebar, and many years later, the concrete just started falling off the building in pieces the size of a cinder block. For a while, they weren't sure if they were going to condemn the entire building or rebuild it. The reason they decided to rehab it is it was one of the very few properties in Key West that's still affordable to the working local, and they didn't want to displace over 100 families that were living there because of the spalling. They spent several years repairing the spalling. They claim that they fixed it, but rust and salt water, in my opinion, just doesn't go away no matter how much you fix it, especially when it's that bad that the building was literally falling down. Just going into the building, it feels like an old housing project building also. It's just an ugly building. If you're old enough to remember the TV show from the 70s, Good Times, it kind of looks like the building that Jimmy Walker, or as he was better known, Kid Dynamite, it looks like the building from Good Times. They do have a very nice size, Olympic-sized pool. They do have a tennis court. They have plenty of parking. But a nice pool, a nice tennis court, and lots of parking just doesn't cut it if your building may or may not fall down. So I'd stay away from Santa Clara at all costs. Then also on Northside Drive in a different complex, a condo complex, actually right next door to Santa Clara in Solana Village, we have a 2-bedroom, 3-bathroom, 1,100 square foot condo. This one's being offered at $480,000, which again sounds like a great price for a condo in Key West. You're in a good location, you're close to the grocery stores, you're close to several nice restaurants, you're close to the beach, you're close to the airport. But the HOA fee is $1,285 a month on that. And most people buying the lower end priced properties are buying it with a mortgage. Not many people come in and pay cash for those. And they base their purchase price not on how much the home costs, but how much is it going to cost me to live in this home every single month. Add in $1,285 right off the top before you pay your mortgage, your insurance, your taxes, or anything. And a lot of the condo complexes in Key West do have HOA fees of that price. Some of them are up over $2,000 and over $3,000, but at least you get something. With the ones at I was going to call it Santa Clara again, Solana Village, all you really get is they call it building maintenance, which basically means they pick up the trash and the cigarette butts in the parking lot and skim the pool. Building insurance, which would be relatively cheap if you did it on a per unit basis. And common area maintenance extermination, which that means the bugs. And we don't really need outside exterminators in the Keys. Mother Nature gave us our own exterminators. They're called lizards and iguanas. They eat all the bugs. So I just don't see where this $1,285 is being spent. So for that reason, I tend to tell people to stay away from Solana Village. There's 2 sections of Solana Village. There's the front side, which is this one, that has the high condo fees. Then there's the back side. Their HOA fees are $1,800 a year. They do want you to pay the whole $1,800 with one check on January 1st, but it works out to $150 a month as opposed to $1,285 a month, and you don't get anything more for the $1,285 a month that you get for the $150 a month. So I'm not a fan of the front side of Solana Village. Then we go up to Big Carpet Key on Porter Drive. We have a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom, 1,344 square foot canal front home. This one's being offered at $979,000, which is a great buy. You have a canal front home. Big Carpet Key is less than a 10-minute drive into Key West, so you get the luxury of being real close to the Key West, the luxury of being on the water, but you don't have the Key West price tag, which is a great thing. $979,000 for a canal front house that close to Key West is definitely a great buy. Just got to take a sip of my tea here for a minute. With all these listings I'm talking, my voice is getting dry. I'm sorry, I'm back now. Then on Geiger Key, on Sun Lane, we have a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom, 1,920 square foot house. This particular section of Geiger Key probably has the best boating in all of the lower keys. You could get a 60-plus foot yacht into this canal system. You could get a fairly large sailboat into this canal system. It has the deepest canals and the deepest controlling depth going in and out of the canals in all of the lower keys. I've sold several properties up here. The downside of it is right on the flight path of NAS Key West where the Navy jets take off. They train there, so a couple dozen jets a day take off and land there, and those jets are very, very loud. I usually tell anybody looking to buy a home in this neighborhood, there's a little restaurant called Geiger Key Marina and Fish Camp. I tell you to go have lunch there before you put in an offer on the house, because the marina is also right over the flight path of the house, of the Navy airstrip, I'm sorry. These houses are actually closer to the military airstrip than Geiger Key is, and I want you to hear those jets come over Geiger Key and listen to the rumble and actually feel glasses and feel your table shake. And if you can tolerate that, then I tell you to move forward and let's go forward and buy the house. This particular one, however, is extremely overpriced. It's offered at $1,869,000. Most of the houses in there are selling around $1 million, $1.1 million, $1.2 million. There's also a lot of mobile homes still in there. This area was originally all a mobile home park. The mobile homes, people are basically buying for the land value, and they're selling anywhere from the low 400s to the mid 500s. But $1,869,000 for a house in this neighborhood is just way overpriced. Then we go to Bay Drive on Saddle Bunch Key. Saddle Bunch Key is a little less than 15 minutes out of Key West. This is an open water estate style house. It's a 5-bedroom, 2-bathroom, 2,450 square foot house right on the open water. And you're facing the west side. You'll get an amazing Florida Keys sunset right from your backyard every single night. The boating here is fairly shallow. You'd have to have a small boat, flat bottom boat. You probably get like a 25-ish foot if you had a Mako or a Boston Whaler or a Carolina skiff. But I need more of my tea. I'm not used to talking this long. We have more listings than usual. With this one, you're definitely not going to get a deep V boat like a Grady White center console in there by any means. But most of us prefer the smaller boats in the Keys. That lets us get out to the backcountry where some of the most beautiful boating is. If you had a deep V boat, the water would be too shallow. You wouldn't be able to get out to the backcountry. So they always say you can tell how long someone's lived in the Keys every time they replace their boat. It gets a few feet smaller each time. This house is being offered at $2,499,999. So I'm just going to call that $2.5 million, which is an excellent buy for a house on the open water that size on a large lot of land with a sunset view, less than 15 minutes from Key West. You pretty much cover all the bases there. Then our last one is on Sugarloaf Key in a subdivision called Sugarloaf Shores, which is a very upscale community in the lower Keys. Sugarloaf Shores tends to have larger lots. The houses are a little bit larger. Although this particular home is a dry lot, it's one of a very small handful of homes in Sugarloaf Shores, not on the canal or on the open water. Generally speaking, the canals are a lot wider in Sugarloaf Shores, a lot cleaner. People swim in them all the time. It's known as being a very upscale neighborhood. And as we talked about earlier, you're better off having the lesser house in the millionaire's neighborhood than the nicest house in the trailer park. This is definitely a case of having the lesser house in the millionaire's neighborhood, and it's being offered at only $799,000, which, even if it is a dry lot, that is an excellent price for a house in Sugarloaf Shores. It's only about a 15-minute ride to Key West. You're surrounded by multi-million-dollar homes. You have the prestige of living in Sugarloaf Shores. It's just a great price. And there's all 10 of our homes. That's all we have for today. If you want to take a look at any of these homes or any home anywhere in the Florida Keys, give me a call at 305-731-0501. And don't forget to check out my blog for better details of the homes and photos, keywestinvesting.com. I'm Gary McAdams with eXp Realty.